Welcome back, Sika.
Hi, Kim.
Hi.
Hi, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you today?
Oh, pretty good, pretty good. Busy, busy, always busy. There's always something to watch, so I'm always
Yes.
busy. Yep.
Awesome. You've got a lot of good movies today for us, and I'm interested in comparing your opinions to those of Michael Snyder for You're Cordially Invited.
Yeah, you're cordially invited. Well, okay, let me say first that this is a new romantic comedy starring Reese Witherspoon and Will Ferrell, who both produce this, by the way, which is interesting. And they play two people who mistakenly booked the same venue, this lakeside country venue for
Sure.
the dream wedding of, in Farrell's case, his daughter, his beloved daughter, and in Reese Witherspoon's case, her beloved sister. So anyway, so there's this mistaken booking thing. And I can only guess that this movie was made for the widest of all possible audiences, for the masses, really. I could see it playing exceptionally well in a packed theater where audiences were really attuned to its goofiness and silliness and total predictability. But this was about as farthest away from the kind of romantic comedy that I like and that I
Oh,
think are a credit to the genre. It did not work for me at all. I found it remarkably and interminably annoying and grating and silly and ridiculous and obvious and insanely contrived and stupid. This is such a stupid movie with these verbal back and forths amongst the characters playing like they were written by a committee, right? Because that
oh,
committee probably wanted to cover all of its bases in appealing
right.
to the widest possible audience. And it's one of the most front loaded romantic comedies possibly ever made. I'm so tired of Will Ferrell's shtick. I can't believe Reese Witherspoon, who appears to anyway be holding her own in what in her gut she, being one of the producers, had to believe was just this ridiculous train wreck of a script. I mean, I have no objectivity about this movie whatsoever, so I just want to say that the only thing I liked were the movie is sort of bracketed by a bit of Stephen Sondheim's "A Little Night Music" music from the play, and that's something that automatically engages this critic. But I just found the romance to be insanely contrived and predictable, the
Mm.
comedy unfunny, and for a romantic comedy, Kim, with those two elements lacking, well, how deadly is that? I mean, come on. And as to the comedy, however, and I'm going to give it a backhanded compliment, this movie, I'll admit that at one point the movie got so, for me, got so stupid and so bad and unfunny, it actually, for about 10 split seconds, became funny because it was so bad.
I
But,
don't think that's what they intended. No.
yeah, I don't know. But hey, look, if you're a fan of these stars, if you find the movie itself funny, humor's weird, right? What
Yeah,
somebody laughs at and finds funny could have another person just staring into space. But if you
sure.
find it funny, then it works. If you believe the romance, then it works. But for me, I found the whole thing unfunny and totally unbelievable as a romance. Therefore, it didn't work for me at all, and I can't recommend it. Sorry.
Oh, not recommended. Wow.
No, no. What did
I
Michael think?
He said the first two-thirds of the movie he found enjoyable. The last third he did not. He said he kind of
Yeah.
blandly recommended it, but he wasn't in love with the movie.
Yeah, see, I found it too. The other thing, just technically as a movie, it kept repeating the same beats like
Mhm.
over and over and over and over. It, no, no. And I love Reese Witherspoon. I can take Will Ferrell in short spurts, but I mean, he just did that sticky thing that he always does. And everything was overplayed and overwrought. And you're going to watch it anyway, right?
I don't know. I
You
have a
should. Well, you
question
should
for
check
you.
it out. Yeah,
Tammy
you should.
says she's watching it. Tammy's gonna watch it.
It,
Uh, Okayest Mama Ever says it sounds a bit like a Hallmark movie. Oh, I don't know.
Hallmark movies, as a rule, are much better than this one, in my opinion.
Ooh,
Yeah,
those are fighting words right
yeah,
there.
I know.
So this movie with these major stars, Will Ferrell, Reese Witherspoon, a movie like this, as Valentine's Day approaches, I would think would often be a, big box office hit, a lot of people, a date movie type of
You would
thing.
think, yeah,
But they
yeah.
didn't put it into theaters. According to the
No,
bottom of the picture here, it's on Prime.
right.
It went
It's on
right to
it.
streaming. So that says something to me about the quality of the movie. Do you think more movies like this are getting made that are really have bad scripts, but because we can put it right to streaming, it gets a little air?
Yeah, it gets some play. In
Mhm.
my opinion, I think they made a mistake because I think this movie it's a movie that would play well with audiences who were into it and who
Yeah,
accepted the ridiculous premise and stuff, because I could see where I could just see, like, I'm thinking, I kind of wish could be watching this movie in a packed theater, because the laughter would probably be infectious and would make me think a little less negatively about it, and thinking,
right.
well, this is an audience picture. I think they made a mistake, but maybe they did think, well, maybe it wouldn't play. Maybe audiences would think it was stupid, just like Tim Sika thought it was stupid, and stay away. I don't know. Marketing is so dicey. You never know what's going to go over in the marketplace. You never do.
I
Yeah.
am already being told that we're going to see this movie. This is called Dogman.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah, Dogman. Yeah,
yeah.
it's a movie I dreaded, but one that turned out to be pretty good.
What?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's DreamWorks animated feature. It's the second in the Captain Underpants franchise, and apparently it's a spin-off and a story within a story of
Yeah.
Captain Underpants, the first epic movie from 2017, which I saw and I kind of liked, but I didn't realize that until after the fact, because it was so long ago that I saw that movie. I didn't remember the characters. I've never read the books either. But anyway, yeah, Dogman is a
We
human.
have all the books at my house, so
Oh,
yeah.
you do. So you know who Dogman is. He's like
Oh yeah.
he's a human hybrid of like
Yeah.
two characters, a cop,
Hmm.
Officer Knight, and his pet dog Greg,
Yeah.
who goes with him when they're chasing criminals. And how Dogman, the character of Dogman, came to be. On one particular call, Officer Knight and Greg the dog, they arrive at this location to defuse this bomb, and the bomb explodes, and Officer Knight's head is injured, and Greg's body is injured. So doctors, in order to save them both, decide to cut off dog Greg's head and attach it to police officer Knight's body, and there we have a dog human hybrid called
Uh-huh.
Dogman. It's a little dark, but anyway, it's pointless to even try to discuss the plot, because this movie is all over the place. But suffice it to say that in addition to Dogman, it involves this evil cat. I think his name is Petey, an adorable small little kitten that he clones, and a fish named Flippy, who has telekinesis, voiced by Ricky Gervais of all people. And yeah, the animation style is colorful, it's wild, it's crazy looking. It's very reminiscent of the Lego movies, the animation here, and the Batman Lego movies, sort of a combination of stop motion with computer graphic animation. So that's all great fun. And I found it very sophisticated, this movie, very clever, funny, fast moving, with twisty dialogue and balls to the wall energy and style. Technically, too, in terms of just overall craft, it was an achievement in its look and in its pacing. It's kind of manic, and it's a bit confusing to follow. If there's something to criticize here, I guess it would be that it's just way too jammed with
Mm-hmm.
jokes and one-liners and villains and themes and visual gags. You're out of breath sometimes just trying to take it all in. But none of that really detracted for me from the film's cleverness and energy and humor. It was really funny. I'm not sure how the little ones are going to take to it, because a lot of the smarts and the comic digs will probably go right over their heads, but there is the color and the look and the visual gags that they'll probably take to, and the adorable little Petey kitten that I think the wee ones will just love. So on balance, Dogman gets a big recommendation from me. It had a
Wow.
tidy runtime. It didn't overstay its welcome. And it was very I didn't expect it to be so sophisticated, and I love sophistication in
Wow, because it's
movies.
made for the 10-year-old crowd, so that's interesting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, there's some really there's a lot of like verbal asides and things that I noticed
Sure.
at the screening I saw that the adults were just giggling at. The kids were just going, what, or they just miss it. But so there's a lot here for both adults and kids. And yeah, I don't think you need to see the Captain Underpants, the other movie, to enjoy this, because it's a totally different character. There's all new characters in this. Yeah, I was surprised. I was kind of energized in a weird way by it. So I liked it. I'm recommending it.
Part dog, part man, all hero, Dogman.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
This is a romantic horror. You don't hear that very often. It's called
No.
Companion. Yeah.
No, yeah, Companion. Also a really nice surprise, this movie, Companion. Kim, January, for some weird reason, is the month that is regarded by a lot of people and critics and movie fans and maybe the studios too, although no empirical data exists to actually prove this, but it's the conventional wisdom, or the perception anyway, that January is the month all these folks consider to be the dumping ground for films, generally considered to be subpar in some ways, or in other words, unworthy of awards consideration, mostly because they come out so early in the year, right? And no one come September, October, November, December, which is award season, like now, will remember any film released in January. Well, this movie, Companion, I think if it was released much later in 2025, could have been arguably a serious contender, at least in terms of its screenplay, for one, maybe a few other categories. So anyway, oh God, how do I describe this? At its purest, this movie is one of those, and good luck with this in terms of social media today. I already saw critics spilling the beans, but Companion is one of those, probably the quintessential movie in the category of the least you know about it going in, the better.
Okay.
Because it's one surprise after another. The movie constantly confounds your expectations. So I don't want to talk about the plot too much, except in very general terms, but to say that this may be the most deranged date movie of all time. It has to be, with the appropriate title of Companion, because it involves the companion, a young woman, played by Sophie Thatcher, who was most recently seen in Heretic, which we talked about on your show. She's the companion of this young man, played by Jack Quaid. They're a couple who go on this weekend getaway with friends to this isolated lake house. And then ... nothing is what it appears to be or what you think is going to happen. And I don't know if this is a new genre, a romantic horror satire, but that's what Companion is. It's a romantic horror movie that satirizes emerging technology and power dynamics and relationships between men and women. And it's tinged with moments of, I want to say sick, but I should refrain from that kind of judgment. It's tinged with moments of dark black comedy, which make it easier for the viewer to get through it, because it gets very, very intense. And so if any of that sounds like your cup of tea, I think you need to check out Companion. I recommend it. In a January release schedule of whatever kinds of movies being released, this was a very pleasant surprise. It's good. It's good. I could, from the trailer, I thought, this looks like the typical movie they're gonna quote unquote dump into the release schedule, but it's a surprise. It's much better than you think.
When you say horror,
are
you talking like bloody gruesome horror? Because there's a horror that I have no interest in seeing, but then there's kind of a thriller that maybe might appeal to me. Or are you talking like real horror?
Well, this is, without giving too much, I would say this is like a little of both.
Okay.
It's a thriller, but there are moments where I did close my eyes. Yeah. And then I did. I hate the violence, but I'll close my eyes, and then I instinctively know how much is left that will indicate to me how violent it actually was. I could make the notation in my notes. And I was glad I closed my eyes when I closed my eyes, because I was grateful for only having to see half of the graphic violence that was unfolding
Mm,
on the screen.
okay.
Yeah. Oh,
This
yeah.
is the information that I needed, so thank you for that.
Okay.
So those
Good.
are the movies that you have to review for us, but you have some streaming options as well. And one of them I have seen, it is The Night Agent.
You've seen it?
I saw the first season and I'm partway through the second season.
Ah, yes. Oh,
Yeah.
good. Oh, good. Yes, The Night Agent. It's a drama series that I just recently got wind of, and that's been I'm trying to do my best to catch up with streaming, and so but
Mhm.
this was one. This has been on Netflix since 2023, but it's only now that season 2 is being dropped on Netflix. Episode 1 of season 2, I think, is out now. I don't know. I don't know if it's just episode 1 or that if the whole
It's
season
it's
2 is out.
it's the whole season.
It
Yeah.
is okay. So I got it anyway, and I understand and I've read that they filmed a season 3 too. So yeah, it's a popular series, and it's I think it's a killer one. It's an action thriller series, Intrigue and Spies. It's based on the novel of the same name, and it centers on this FBI agent played by Gabriel Basso, who's in the poster there, who's thrown into this. I don't know what it is. It's a vast conspiracy web about a mole operating at the highest levels of the United States government. Basically, that's what it's about. And the first episode of season 1 grabs you right from the
Yeah.
get-go and pretty much never lets up. And this is a series designed to literally binge. And I'm gonna see if I can try to explain what I mean by that. Kim, there's some of these series where you have to qualify to your listeners and your readers, your potential watchers of the series. Well, you say things like, well, it starts slow and you have to get through maybe episode 3 or 4 or 5
Mm,
before, you get to the meat of the piece and blah, blah, blah. And it's really good, but there's some slower, perfunctory or expositional episodes that might make you want to abandon the series. Not The Night Agent. You get something from each episode, and
yeah.
this is all signaled in the first episode of season 1, which is this thrilling nail biter that makes you go, okay, I just got to know what's coming next. In other words, you get something from every episode, something that makes you want to immediately go to the next. Did you have that experience? That
You
was
can't
mine.
you can't not click on the next episode.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
You have to know what happens
yeah,
next.
yes,
Yeah.
yes. And I love this series for that
Mhm.
basic reason. I spend
Mhm.
hours on it. It's smart. It keeps you constantly guessing. There are all these twists and turns. What else I liked about it too, now that I'm thinking, it's intricately plotted, yet it's easy to follow. And that's no small feat in
It's
terms
true.
of writing. That's
Mhm.
so, and it can get a little tense and bleak at times. There's scant humor, but when the humor does come, it arrives exactly at the point where you need it. It's kind of as a relief, if that makes any sense. And there's some, we were talking about companion and horror movies and violence and stuff. There are some very gruesome strangulations in this series, which seems to be the best method that spies use in this series anyway, to dispose of their targets. Probably because I'm going, why are they strangling all these people? Probably because there's no sound, right?
Right.
Yeah, of course it makes sense. Anyway, this is one of Netflix's most popular shows, and after watching it, I totally can see why.
Yeah.
I really can, and I can't wait to get into season 2.
Okay. So I'm kind of getting into season 2 because I watched season 1 when this show first came out.
Oh, okay,
So I've
yeah.
had to wait for season 2, and I
Oh,
don't know if if you're watching season 1 and then just kind of automatically go into season 2, if it makes it better, but I would say at this point, season 1 seems to be better than season 2.
okay. What episode are you on in season 2?
Like maybe 5 or 6.
Okay, so about maybe halfway through. Yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how they're going to sustain it for three seasons. I don't know. I mean, you never
Hey,
know, but I'm
there
going to
are
watch
always
it anyway. Yeah.
there are always spies among us, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll watch it
Yes.
anyway
Oh,
too.
yeah.
And there's
Yeah.
something compelling about the main character. He's got this boyish face and he's
Yeah.
earnest and good guy who
Yeah.
tries to do the right thing. And so, you kind of like him automatically.
Well, and he's an appealing actor too. I interviewed him a while back. He was in
Oh,
this independent film when he was just a kid, and I can't remember. It was the one about the 3 kids who were I can't remember. It was the coming of age thing, and he's a very appeal. He was also in that Showtime series with Laura Linney called The Big C. Remember, she played the mother who had stage 4 cancer. So she just decided, I'm going to just be honest with everybody I come in contact with, say what I think. He played the son, and he gave it was a beautiful performance. And anyway, it's nice to see him. I didn't realize he's now in his 30s. He's this really good adult actor, but in his persona, he incorporates all those things that made him appealing as a young actor, only he infuses them, as this, hard guy, spy guy, and it helps that he's so appealing in the title role, this series.
Michael Snyder also told me that he played J.D. Vance in the movie version of Hillbilly Elegy.
Yeah, I just never went to that. I didn't either.
No, I didn't either.
No. I think I may have started to watch it, and it seemed so over the top and ridiculous. I thought, nah, I'm not gonna. And I never did, and I never had to review it. So that's always the best excuse I have for not seeing a movie I don't want to see if I don't have to review it. So, yeah.
I have not seen this one, Tim Sika. It's called The Pitt.
Yeah, this is because it just premiered.
Okay.
It's another good series. It's a medical drama TV series. It premiered this month on HBO Max. I think there's 4 or maybe 5 episodes are now streaming on Max, with a new episode coming out every Thursday. I saw the first 4 episodes. I haven't seen the 5th one yet. And yeah, it's a medical drama series. And what's unique about this series is that each episode of the season, I think 14 episodes have been given the green light, but each episode covers 1 hour of a single 15-hour emergency department shift at this fictional Pittsburgh Medical Hospital in the trauma unit. So episode 1 covers the trauma unit from 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. Episode 2 from 8 a.m. until 9 a.m. and so forth. Yeah. And I've never seen ER. Have you ever seen ER?
I used to work in an emergency room, so I've seen all of those.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, Noah Wiley, who was in that series, plays the lead senior surgeon here in the Pitt. He was also in the ER show. So I have nothing to compare this series to. So I love that I was
like Noah Wiley anymore. He's really looks like a man. When he was in ER, he looked like a boy.
He looked like a boy. Yeah. He does play this like he's been through the mill kind of character. And but I love that I was able to not bring any previous baggage to this, because I immediately thought of ER, even though I've never watched an episode of that. I mean, when I saw this, but anyway, I just thought the show was terrific. Apparently, speaking of ER, I just read before I came on, apparently the estate of Michael Crichton, represented by his widow, sued Warner Brothers Television over breach of contract, claiming that The Pitt was a reworking of a planned sequel to ER. I don't know where that lawsuit is right now, but apparently the show is going ahead anyway. But the production is superb. The scripts are superb. Noah Wiley is he's just technically what he does as an actor in this series is mind-blowing. He's superb. The series tackles, as it takes place in the trauma unit of a hospital, from hour to hour, as you would think, various issues of life and death, the business of medicine and the business of healthcare and hospital administration and the complications that surround that, and some of the things patients and their loved ones have to confront in these emergency situations. So it's very moving too. I don't know, it was episode 3 when this brother and sister just could not let go of their dad. So they were insisting on keeping him alive, but the keeping him alive was causing him all this discomfort and confusion. Anyway, so it's a human series as well. And I found the entire show compelling and moving and riveting, and I can't wait to see what the rest of the series has in store. I highly recommend it. It's great. Noah Wiley,
you have me convinced. I am sold.
It's. I think you'll like it, especially having worked in an ER situation. Yeah, I think you'll probably relate to it more than I did. I just, I watched it. I'm just going, yeah, it's hot. Hospitals are complicated. Physicians and nurses and medical personnel are human. They make mistakes. But when I finished the first 4 episodes, which they sent, I thought, what you want to do is try to just avoid having to go to the hospital if you
Mhm.
can. Take care of yourself. Do as much preventive care on your person as you can, because yeah, yeah. Anyway, I liked it. I loved it. I thought it was terrific. I binged it all like straight through in like 4 hours.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
yeah.
Okay. All right. It's going on my Tim Sika list.
Okay,
Absolutely.
good, good. Yeah.
So the next one, I don't know if I have the right picture because there's so many Lincoln documentaries, but is this the right
Yeah,
one?
that's it.
Okay.
That's the one. That's
Okay.
the one I could tell by the actor. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I
Okay.
stumbled across this series just last week on Amazon Prime, and I got hooked immediately. It's a nearly 6-hour documentary series, 3 episodes on the life and career of our 16th president, Abraham Lincoln. It originally aired on the History Channel, apparently in 2022, and it's got 3 components to it. There are dramatic recreations with actors playing Lincoln and Mary Todd and Lincoln's cabinet. There's actual Matthew Brady photographs of Lincoln and others who were alive in the 19th century, plus photos of Civil War carnage. So
Wow.
there's plenty of visual historical documentation here as well. And it has historians like Dolores Kearns Goodwin and
Mhm.
politicians like Barack Obama
Mhm.
commenting on various aspects of Lincoln's life and career. And, rather than go on about the series right now, which I highly recommend, by the way, to everyone out there, I just want to say to the majority of us out there, and we are the majority, folks, the majority of us who are exhausted by
Mhm.
the insanity and the BS of what's going on politically in this country right now. I recommend that you watch this series. It'll be like, and it'll kind of serve as, I'm certain, if I had to bet, a kind of welcome balm of reassurance and calm and sanity, because it's a reminder that we once had in this country learned presidents who understood and modeled their presidencies after the Constitution, who
Mhm.
understood the power of rhetoric and poetry when they gave a speech, who were skilled politicians, who cared about people, and who, for just one example, as Lincoln did, and I'm paraphrasing one of the talking heads in the series, who took the Declaration of Independence, just as one example, and turned it into the country's moral compass, as
Mhm.
in all men are created equal, who ended slavery and who stood for unity in a time of deep division in this country among the North and the South. So what am I saying? It's inspiring watching this series,
I
Abraham Lincoln,
It
and
sounds like it's a reminder of who we really are.
who thank you, you said it,
Mhm.
you read. I was going to say that next. It
Mhm.
reminds us of who we really are, and right
Yeah.
now we're trying to be told otherwise.
Mhm.
So it's a must see, and dollars to donuts. I think it's going to renew our or your commitment to the basic principles this country was
Oh,
founded on, and which
I
we
love
will
it.
return to. I'm certain of it when the crazies and the greedy and the emotionally immature return to their rightful place or places in the
Mhm.
universal scheme of things. Really, this I remember when I was watching this, I thought, do I really want to see this now? It's just going to depress me. It did the opposite. And
Nice.
it made me feel hopeful for the country. This is a phase we're going through. It
Yeah.
does require resistance and fighting
Mhm.
but it's for the worthiest of all causes, democracy. Yeah.
Abraham Lincoln, a three-part documentary on Amazon Prime, going on my Tim Sika list. You got me on this one too.
Oh, goody. I think you'll like it. It's very entertaining. Mary Todd gets short shrift in this one,
Oh,
but I mean, hers is another story completely.
yeah.
And but because
She was
Lincoln was under so much pressure when he was in office, personal,
Yeah.
political, everywhere he turned. What were we going to say?
She had some I think she might have had some mental issues, Mary.
She did. She did.
Mhm.
She would. I think today she would have just been diagnosed as severely bipolar.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, but I
Um,
mean, Lincoln had 2 sons die when he was
yeah.
in office. I mean, oh, just yeah.
And
But
still of all the trauma that he was going through, look still what he managed to do for this country.
Just indescribable, especially
Mhm.
when you compare it to what we're living through now. I often wonder what, Lincoln and Jefferson and Adams and Washington would be, thinking about what we're going through now, turning in their graves, I guess, or I don't know what,
They would
but
be horrified.
horrified. Yeah, yeah.
Your classic movie recommendation of the week is called Ordinary People.
Yeah, I can't believe that Ordinary People, which won 4 Academy Awards, I think, including Best Picture and Best Director for Robert Redford, is 45 years old this year. I
Mhm.
remember when I first saw this movie, uh, and yeah, yes, we're all getting older. Anyway, it's one of my all-time favorite domestic dramas. It's based on the novel by Judith Guest, which is a very good novel, but I think the movie is even better. And it's about family trauma and the breakdown of a particular wealthy family following the accidental drowning of one of their two sons in the aftermath of an attempted suicide of the other son. And it's probably, in my opinion, it's as close to perfection as you can get to any movie in terms of its script, its direction, and its performances. Timothy Hutton, who's in the picture there next to Donald Sutherland, he plays the suicidal son. He won an Oscar for his performance. Mary Tyler Moore is positively revelatory in her dramatic rendering of this emotionally closed off mother. And Donald Sutherland, also in that picture there, he's superb as the loving husband and father. Donald Sutherland is known for his offbeat roles, and
Mhm.
he said once in an interview he would often audition for parts, and they would say to him, "You're brilliant, but you're just too associated with weird roles, so we can't cast you." Robert Redford had the genius to put him in this movie, and his performance, it's one of the great screen performances. I don't think he got any kind of acknowledgement during awards season because it was so subtle, but he's brilliant. There's not a single wrong note here in Ordinary People in terms of the film's economy and its communication of its themes. To me, it's just note perfect. I think it's a bona fide classic. If anybody out there listening or watching hasn't seen it yet, I believe it's streaming on both Pluto and Amazon Prime, I think, has it to rent. But it's a classic example of classic movie making at its highest level. And
I have not
yeah.
seen this movie. I'm really looking
Oh,
forward to it. Yeah.
oh, you got to see it. Put that on the
Mhm.
Tim Sika list for the Kim McAllister.
I was
Really,
too
Kim, you'll,
little. I was too little when this movie came out. I'm sure my parents would not have let me see this type of movie. And
yeah,
so,
yeah,
if you weren't around or you weren't of age when a movie like this came out and you haven't gone back to see
yeah.
these movies, what a great recommendation.
Yeah, I was a teenager when it came out, and it
Mhm.
blew me away. And I remember there was a little bit of controversy. I remember it was nominated alongside Martin Scorsese's Raging Bull, and there were a lot of critics that
Oh,
complained like Raging Bull should have won. The thing is, though, Raging Bull is it's a masterpiece of a movie, but it's not a movie that you can easily revisit because it's just so unpleasant, and
yeah.
the subject matter is all. Ordinary People is a movie, and I think this is why the Academy picked it. I mean, maybe they could foresee this. It's a movie I've seen at least 25 times, and I can go back to it over and over and still experience the same thing I experienced when I first saw it. It never gets old. It never gets tired. There's so much nuance in there. I think that's why the Academy just liked it more, and that's where like can always sort of transcend your logical critical faculties, like in the end always prevails. And that's why I think the Academy chose it. But and I love it. I also love Raging Bull, but it's a movie that God, I think I've seen twice, 2 or 3 times, and it's a great movie. But oh man, it's like living in somebody's nightmare for 2 hours. Ugh.
Karen says this was very much a departure for Mary Tyler Moore.
Absolutely. She was
Mhm.
known. I don't think she had ever even remotely played a part like this because she was known for the Mary Tyler Moore Show, the Dick Van Dyke Show. She's a very funny lady. She was brilliant in this. She was nominated for the Academy Award. She won the Golden Globe for Best Dramatic Performance. in a drama. I think
Mhm.
that was the same year Coal Miner's Daughter was out, and I think Sissy Spacek won because they put them in the same category. Sissy Spacek, who also won the Golden Globe for best performance in a musical or a comedy, Sissy Spacek wound up beating her for the Oscar, but I suspect it was just by a few votes because Moore is superb in this film. I mean, she's just superb. I don't know. What else can I say? Worth seeing for any one of those three lead performances, let alone the
Yeah.
story, which is just amazing.
A lot of people are saying in the chat, this is a movie that's hard to watch, kind of depressing. You're going to need a comedy to lighten your spirits afterwards.
Oh, really? Oh, yeah,
Am I gonna
interesting. Yeah.
am I gonna
No,
cry? Am I gonna be in
no,
tears?
you're good, but I don't think it's interesting that people found it depressing.
Mm,
There's an element to it where you go, geez, I kind of wish that didn't have to happen. But when you think about the movie and the story, you're going, no, that's that had to happen. But the hope is in that one scene. You showed that the picture of Donald Sutherland and Timothy Hutton. That's at the end of the movie. That's where the hope is. There's even hope for the situation that evolves around the Mary Tyler Moore character, even though she has to make a decision at some point to, well, she kind of has to remove herself at
yeah.
some point. I don't want to give anything away, but
Mhm.
no, I found it very hopeful and very moving. I first time I saw it, I cried at the end. Oh,
Oh,
I thought it was moving rather
yeah.
than depressing, sad, but
Yeah.
not depressing sad.
Mhm. All right, we're recapping it. The
Okay.
first one you have said is the first one you had for us was you're cordially invited. And you, I love it when I get to say the mean things on your behalf. You
Oh
found it
no.
annoying. It didn't work for you at all. You found it contrived and stupid, so predictably unfunny that you said it's so stupid that parts of it made you laugh because it was actually the stupidity of it all, not the intent of being funny. You
Yeah.
do not recommend You're Cordially Invited under any circumstance. No, it's a no.
Yes.
Dogman, you were surprised by this. You said that's pretty good. You said it's sophisticated, a little bit manic and jammed with jokes, but that didn't distract from the energy or the clever nature of Dogman, and you recommend it. As for Companion, you said this movie was a nice surprise. As a matter of fact, it has one surprise after another. You recommend Companion. The streaming options, you said this one is built for binging. Night Agent season 2 just out. But you said the plot is complicated but really easy to follow, and you recommend this. You loved it.
I like that you said. I think I said it was designed for binging, but I like the way you said it better. It was built for binging.
Built for
Yeah, it's
binging.
built
Mhm.
for. Yeah, I like the alliterative quality
Alliteration.
of that. Yeah,
Happy
yeah.
to be here. Proud to serve, Tim.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Pitt, you have me convinced that this is on my list. It's an HBO Max series, medical drama. You said each episode covers 1 hour of an emergency room trauma unit shift. Superb. You said from the production to the scripts to the acting by Noah Wiley, you say this is compelling and riveting. The Pit on Max is a yes to Tim Sika. And you have a way to lift us up out of our political nightmare with this 3-part documentary, Abraham Lincoln. It is on Amazon Prime. You say you highly recommend it, especially for anyone exhausted by current politics. You said it's a reminder of who we are, basically. You said it brings calm and sanity. It is Abraham Lincoln. It is streaming on Amazon Prime. Thumbs up from Tim Sika. And your classic movie recommendation of the week, Ordinary People. You said, yeah, maybe it's heavy, but you really like this movie. You think it stands the test of time, and you say it's worth watching again, worth going back for.
Yeah, there you go.
All
Very good
right.
summation. Yeah, yeah.
And before I let you go, I wanted
Yes.
to give you the opportunity to comment on the Oscar nominations if you had any predictions or any thoughts on who got left out, who you thought. Where,
Yeah,
what
I
will
thought,
rise to the
well,
top?
yeah, I was surprised that Amelia Perez got 13 nominations, and
Mm.
I suspect that's because of the influence of Netflix, and
Oh,
they have the money and the power to really push a film. I
yeah.
did like Amelia Perez. I recommended it. I think it was I thought it was unusual and different, but I was surprised by that. I was also a little disappointed that Marianne Jean Baptiste was not nominated for Best Actress for Hard Truths. I thought she gave the performance of the decade. Brilliant, brilliant, brilliant acting. But again, the movie, it's always economics with films. I know it's a business, but I don't know if Bleecker Street, the distributor, had the sufficient funds to push it into an Oscar campaign, or maybe it's because it was a British film. I don't know, but she should. I was disappointed in her not being nominated. And God, there was one other thing I was disappointed with. I can't remember what that was.
Mm.
Clarence Macklin, who was in a movie called Sing Sing, which we talked about.
Oh, yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah, he actually came out of that system. This guy, Clarence Macklin, and he played a role in this movie that was based on him, where he was absolutely brilliant. He's never had any acting experience. I was a little disappointed that they didn't acknowledge him too, just because of the narrative of what accompanied that movie and him getting to that point. He gave a brilliant performance, but otherwise, I thought that, you know what I got wrong, Kim? Remember I told you I thought Wicked was going to sweep at the Globes. It's not getting anything. It's not
Oh,
getting any acknowledgement. I don't know what
yeah.
that is. I totally miscalculated on that. And it seems like the energy is sort of going out of Wicked. Like it's probably not. I mean, I'm sure it'll get some kind of technical Oscar, maybe for production design or special effects or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's weird that nobody's talking about Wicked that much, and it doesn't.
Mars is in a bad mood today anyway, it seems, but he didn't like Wicked. I loved it.
Who didn't like it? Oh, Mars. Oh,
Mars in
I
the
see.
chat. Yeah.
Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah, I know. It didn't get universally great reviews, but it was a box office hit. It made a lot of
Hmm.
money. A lot of people went to see it, which is always good for the business. I have my issues with the source material. I never really cared for the show, and I don't particularly like the music or the lyrics too much. But I thought the movie was pretty textbook. I mean, it was, if you're gonna make a movie out of a stage production, that's the way to do it. The way they did it
Yeah.
in Wicked, it was very well done. It seemed like a movie. It was, yeah. Anyway, yeah. Anyway,
John
I
has
I
a
thought
point.
I th-
John
yeah.
says Wicked might get more nods when part two comes out. That might be what they're waiting for.
That's a really good point, because it
Mhm.
took, I think, 3 Lord of the Rings movies for the last. It was the third Lord of the Rings movies that finally won the Best Picture Oscar. Yeah, and that was like a series and an IP that almost needed to be complete. So that's a good point. Yeah,
Yeah.
they may wait till the. Yeah, that's a really good point. I hadn't thought
Mhm.
of it. Yeah.
Oh, my husband wants you to know that if you like Lincoln, watch the Grant documentary as well. You're gonna really like that as well.
Oh, okay. That
Yeah.
great. I will do that. Yeah, I love
All
those
right.
historical documentaries.
Tim
Okay.
Sika, I enjoy you so much. We missed you last week.
Thanks.
As a matter of fact, people were like, "What am I gonna do without my classic movie recommendation? I don't know what to watch this weekend." So thank you
Oh,
for coming
gee.
back.
That's so
Thank
nice of you. Thank you. Yeah, it's nice to know
Absolutely.
that some people are listening. Yeah, that's always edifying. So thanks. Thanks for having me, and thanks for letting me go on like this. I
Absolutely.
don't think I have another venue where I can bloviate the way I do on your show.
I'll take all the bloviating you got. Thank you, Tim
Okay.
Sika.
Okay, Kim.
At the
Talk to you next
movies
week.
with Tim Sika. Bye-bye.
Bye.
I love it.